Jasmine, always good to have you on ENCA. First things first, a lot of security analysts and diplomatic experts are saying there's a need at this point for a change of strategy in Cabo Delgado and from the region. Do you agree?
I do agree. I think that has been said over and over for the last 12 months with a lack of urgency, especially from the Maputo government. We have seen the AU and SADC releasing statements recently. Good to see them releasing statements. But Cabo Delgado is begging for action. And in a very coordinated, integrated manner, not a crisis management situation. President Masisi from Botswana's recent statements clearly will have to be discussed at the SADC summit. You can't just come to a decision like that. And irrespective of all these statements and all these plans being put on the table, Maputo seems to remain reluctant in accepting that they need the support, that they are willing to open Cabo Delgado to an international integrated regional force, and maintaining a winning narrative, even downplaying the impact of Palma in terms of a security in Cabo Delgado.
So you've got the likes of the United States and Mozambique's former colonial power or colonizers, the Portuguese saying, well, we're willing to help train the military in Mozambique to be able to fend off this insurgency. Why is that not enough as far as external assistance?
It is simply not enough. The issue of training speaks for itself. The government security forces have shown yet again that they're simply not up to it in countering the insurgency. They don't have enough soldiers. They don't have enough experienced commanders out there in the field. So there are many reasons impacting on why the Mozambican government does not have this capacity. But training, a 2-month training by the Green Berets will make no difference. A 12-month training program, 12 to 18 months, we do not have 12 to 18 months in Cabo Delgado unless we want to tell the insurgents the floor is yours.
The other complication, though, it's one thing to address, Jasmine, the issue of the violence itself between the military and these al-Shabaab insurgents, right? But there is the issue of the economic layer. People saying that much of what's fueling the rage, if you will, is the fact that, I beg your pardon, the elite are benefiting from these massive gas projects in the region, and the poor are getting poorer. So is there any hope for an end to the violence until that too has been addressed sufficiently?
No, there is no hope. If one now sees what has happened, Total has completely withdrawn from Afungi, showing the lack of complete security in Cabo Delgado. Sadly, the issue of those making money out of those investments will always be at play. But that is one of the reasons why the LNG sector has accelerated, not as a reason for the insurgency, has accelerated the insurgency, is the exact dissatisfaction that there is no immediate direct benefit for the locals. And when employment comes to play, the skills down south, not up north. So what happens? People down south are being brought up, and that enables a further environment of dissatisfaction. And hence, we have seen so much support for the insurgency within youths that are feeling being neglected.
Are the corporate players then, the big multinational companies who are investing in gas development, are they playing their role, or are they in essence taking advantage of the instability in Cabo Delgado?
I do think that realistically speaking, I can understand that their first priority will be their workers, will be the site from where they are going to make their profits. But they have committed themselves to the voluntary principles in which human rights plays a central role. But now, during the Palma attack, whilst people are getting killed, they are refusing Dyke Advisory Group access to refuel and to go and save lives. I truly think Total must still account for that. And no matter how they want to justify it, people were killed whilst they said no, which limited any counter operations. So clearly, the first and foremost priority, and we need to understand this, is their own interest at play, is their interest to make money. And they will want a stable environment, but that level of stability, for as long as it's not impacting on their profit margins, will be more than enough for them. Where we are arguing that the deep-lying problems will have to be addressed, and the Mozambican government's reluctance to admit to their failures in Cabo Delgado tells me, sadly, there's a lack of political willingness in terms of addressing such processes in the long term.
Quick last one. Today, then, President Cyril Ramaphosa, speaking in Soweto, said that the SANDF was involved solely in the evacuation of South Africans who were trapped in Cabo Delgado. What's your reaction to that?
I think I do understand. I mean, at the end of the day, the South African government has a responsibility towards its citizens. But I want to emphasize, if they are not going to be deployed, or if they do not have the intelligence in Palma and surrounding areas to direct them exactly where South Africans are, they are going to create immense problems for themselves. Palma is volatile. No one can guarantee your security at this point in time. Walking in blindly into Palma is, to put it frankly, irresponsible. Special forces trained for this? Yes, I give it. But we cannot simply walk in blindly and walk around Palma and think that nothing is going to happen. We need to know and understand where we are with Palma today as you and I are talking, Bimbalike. And I think that is the important point. The security forces being deployed and taking South Africans out, in principle, not a problem. But how viable it is, I still have questions. And according to my understanding, the deployment still has to take place and that it's still in a planning phase.
Jasmine Opperman from the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project, always good to have you on. Thank you.